Last time we built a graveyard with zombie dinosaurs. This time we're going to explore the sea that is full of sea monsters. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for checking out this building video for Jurassic World Evolution 2. We are continuing the Jekyll and Hyde Park, even though the spooky month is now officially over, but my work here is not yet done. I hope everyone had a great and fun Halloween. I did a Halloween stream myself. It was the first time I dressed up for Halloween, so I had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, now it's November, and we're basically like defrosting Mariah Carey and getting ready for Christmas. I know I am. I'm much more about Christmas. We don't really celebrate Halloween all that much here in the Netherlands. But yeah, what we're gonna do in this episode is sea monsters, because I felt like those were just really creepy, especially Liopleurodon and Tylosaurus. They just have that scary sea monster-esque look to them. So I'm bringing those into the park. I really realized during this episode that there's a lot more that I actually wanted to do in this park that I simply don't have space for, because we're dealing with, you know the concept of the park at this point, right? One half is scary, one half is normal, and I've been really working on the scary side during the month of October so I could get as much of that done as possible. And, the happy side we'll get back to after this is done. But at this point, I'm kind of running out of... You can see right there, that's all the space we have left. And what I'm working on in this episode are lagoons for our sea monsters, but I also still want a swamp for Spinosaurus, Suchomimus, Baryonyx, that classic trio. And of course we need the hybrids, which is basically the grand finale of the spooky side of the park. Also, as I'm talking about this, I also realized we still need Therizinosaurus, but there is still place for that dinosaur, so fret not, we will have Freddy Krueger in the park as well. But yeah, during building this, I was really realizing that I was running out of space. So I am a little concerned, but I think I can make it work, because we'll probably not give the hybrids too much space. It'll probably be small enclosures, for security reasons, quote unquote. Not because I'm running out of space, obviously. We don't do that here. I have everything perfectly planned. I have a perfect handle on things. So in this episode, it's 3 lagoons, and you can see here that I'm sort of like placing these two very close together, with like this area between them for the viewing experience. And I really like how that turned out, actually. If you want to do something similar, get lagoons really close together like that, just use 2 different lagoon types. Yes, that does require that you have the game on a new console or on PC, so you have all buildings in one save file. But if you do that, you can get them really close together without them trying to snap together. And that's how I was able to create that shape. Maybe if you fiddle with it quite a bit, you can also do it with just 1 lagoon type if you are playing on an older console. But it's just easier if you use 2 different lagoon types, and you can just line them up however you want without them trying to snap together. So of course we also had to bring in the Mosasaurus, because it's a classic. It's the biggest one we got, and I really felt like the park wouldn't be complete without Mosasaurus, and also because of the shark feeding animation. Now at this point I have hunger turned off, because it's such a pain. It is such a pain to keep all of the feeders supplied, since we don't have an infinite feeder option yet. So I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that very soon, very, very soon from now, we are getting another DLC with another fantastic update that will finally include infinite feeders, so I can turn on that function in this park, turn on the feeding function, because I feel like the shark feeding show is very suitable for the horror side of the park, right? It's a little bit of blood and gore, and it's pretty scary to see one of the predators that us humans consider to be probably one of the scariest, right? Great white sharks are scary. Let's be honest, they're beautiful, but you don't want to run into them or swim into them while you're in the water. So I think it's pretty effective horror spooky stuff to see a great white shark, something that you're already terrified of, and see it be absolutely dwarfed and just easily snapped in half by a Mosasaurus jumping out of the water. I feel like that would really create that sense of understanding just how scary the Mosasaurus is. So that's why I really wanted to put the Mosasaurus with the shark feeder there. Now you might say, Evo, the Kronosaurus also has a shark feeding animation. Yes, but the Kronosaurus is cute as a button, and that's why the Kronosaurus is going on the other side of the park, in the happy side of the park, and it will just eat on fish, not sharks, stuff like that. Okay. So, I've placed my 3 lagoons. I'm rambling. I'm so sorry. I got like 11 hours of sleep last night. Don't ask me how it's possible. I don't know. But yeah, she's energized right now. No sugar involved, I promise. So I have placed my 3 lagoons. We have 4 in total because we also had the Elasmosaurus, Attenborosaurus, you know, our Loch Ness monster kind of thing. So we have sort of like this band of lagoons over there. And after that, we're gonna dig down even further. You just saw me do that because that's the idea that I introduced in the previous episode, right? We're gonna go deeper into... We're basically digging our way into hell, where we are going to unearth the hybrids, of course, the spookiest dinosaurs that are going to come into our parks. So here, I was able to just fit those 2 viewing galleries between the lagoon and the graveyard that we worked on in the previous episode. And I'm just using the individually placeable trees to fill out the foliage over there because I don't necessarily want them to see the back wall of that exhibit. And here we have a river that sort of trickles out of the lagoon, and the idea behind that exhibit that we're going to build there, and that's probably where I'll put the Therizinosaurus, is sort of like the lagoon has sprung a leak. You know, it's fake, it's all part of the show, of course, but I felt like that would also be kind of a spooky thing. Like, you don't want a lagoon to spring a leak. You don't want to be walking over there and suddenly be flooded by tons and tons and tons of lagoon water, and also, not to mention, flesh-eating marine reptiles. So yeah, we have that river sort of coming out of the lagoon, make pretend at least, and then that sort of trickles into the swamp area where, as I said, we're gonna have Suchomimus, Spinosaurus, and Baryonyx. I just did a little bit of the water work over there. We're not actually going to be building that exhibit in this episode, but as I was realizing that I was running out of space, I just knew that in this episode I had to take a little bit of time to plan out the future exhibits, you know, the final area of the park, to make sure that I would be able to fit in everything that I really, really wanted to fit in. And in the end, I'm really glad with the spider web design that we did 2 episodes ago, I think. It's the Ghost Dinosaurs episode. I used a lot of dinosaurs in that episode, and initially I was afraid that I had used too many species and that I didn't leave myself with enough scary dinosaurs. But honestly, it was a happy accident, as Bob Ross would say. Bob Ross would be very proud of my Ghost Dinosaurs episode because I managed to get in a lot of different species that I felt were appropriate for this section of the park. You know, just get them out of the way, because in the end, I don't have space left for all that many species anymore. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just rambling and working and rambling some more. So I also really love placing viewing towers by lagoons, so you can get a nice overview of the lagoon and you can see like the silhouettes of these gliding monsters under the surface. It's a little bit more mysterious, I guess. So I placed that viewing tower over there. Right now it's facing into the Liopleurodon exhibit. At the end of the episode, I actually deleted it, changed the pathwork a little bit, and turned it around. So it faces not just the Mosasaurus exhibit, the Mosasaurus Lagoon, but something that I'm adding behind the Mosasaurus Lagoon, which is very, very, very important and something I nearly forgot, but really needed to have in the scary part of the park. And of course, we'll get to that when we get to that. And what I'm doing right here, you know, it's the cracks in the pavement kind of idea, right, that we've had all over this section of the park. So just imperfectly filling in that. Oh my god, my rabbit just went crazy. Just imagine him running around and saying, parkour! Anyway, whoa, buddy, okay. All right, we're both hyper. I think we both had a good night's sleep. Anyway, I'm just figuring out a little bit of the pathwork over here. I didn't really specifically know what to do with it, I will admit that. But I think it turned out all right in the end. For this section of the park, I'm mostly trying to avoid like what I do typically, which is the large open areas, our grand plazas. I don't really do that on this side of the park. I did a little bit with the spiderweb path art because, it was unavoidable. I wanted to have that spiderweb look, so that's quite a big plaza. But other than that, I'm mostly steering away from that for this park because everything just needs to feel more claustrophobic, I guess. So here I'm just on a struggle bus trying to make this work the way I had in mind. I just wanted to hide the backs of the buildings over there and create like this narrow alleyway that leads over to those shops. And then we have the main path coming forth that leads, more directly to other parts. And of course the graveyard also connects to that. So the graveyard has an entry point and an exit point, or vice versa. You can do whatever. I'm checking in an attraction over here just because it fits so well. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you just do that. Sometimes you don't even know if you like something. You just put it there because it fits. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But that's definitely something I do. Okay, Secrets of Evo unlocked. And here we go with another hotel. I just really love these hotels. I don't use them a lot in my park builds because thematically and aesthetically, I feel like the Jurassic World hotels fit better because I don't ever really make like a dedicated Jurassic Park style park, with those kinds of buildings with the thatched roofs and stuff. So those hotels kind of always stick out like a sore thumb. But for here, I feel like they work quite well because they're definitely a spookier version of a hotel, definitely spookier than like the luxurious hotel that we have for the Jurassic World section. And I just really love them, so I just had to use another one, even though I did address in one of the earlier videos of this series that I think park hotels should be located closer to the park entry because you have your luggage with you and you don't want to have to carry your luggage too far. And in other parks you can work around that by having monorail stations all the way around and just have your hotel close to a monorail station. So all you have to do is, take your luggage onto the train and reach your hotel that way. That's like a little tip if you want to go for realism, right? Always have your hotels either close to the entry point or close to a transport system that connects the hotel to the entry point. But anyway, we don't have monorails in this side of the park. I felt like they were too grand, too polished, too modern. So I'm saving that for the happy side. What we have for transport in this park is really just, the old feet mobile. And we have a little bit of truck tour that takes guests through the spiderweb ghost encounters enclosure if they're too chicken shit to go through there. So, wow, that was a long ramble about me justifying putting a hotel against my own philosophy. But there you have it. And as I'm doing this, I just realized I'm still forgetting to customize the buildings. And I need to like dedicate a corner in my house that shall be the corner of shame. And I shall sit there for 15 minutes every day. That I could have spent customizing buildings, and I just keep forgetting to. Honestly, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. This little thing was a bit of a struggle. Like trying to orientate? What's the English word? I think orientate. Orientate the rocks in the ideal way, so they're all pointing up and pointing inward, but not be identical, and, switching between turning it on the different axes, stuff like that. It was a little more time consuming, and I felt like giving up. At this point, I felt like giving up, but then I realized, no, come on, you have to do the whole line. Come on, just 4 more. You can do this. You got this. By the way, it still really surprises me that people don't know about certain features in the game, like being able to turn rocks on all axes. I recently got a comment from someone who was like absolutely blown away. Like, wait, you can do that? And I get comments like that more often where I do something in a video and people are like, is that a mod? Or, oh my god, I didn't know we could even do that. Oh god, my PC just went to sleep. I don't know if I'm still recording. I'm still recording. Wake up, wake up. Okay, I am still recording. little blunders with Evo. Honestly, that's just my channel tagline. But yeah, it really surprises me that people are just not fully aware of the capabilities of the game, the features in the game. So that's something I addressed in like a recent video of mine. If Jurassic World Evolution 2 was perfect, it would sort of help point people to like the text at the bottom. If you would please pay attention to the text at the bottom of your screen, you can actually see that when you're in a certain mode, like right now I'm in the fence mode, at the bottom of the screen, you can see what you can do in that mode, like the kinds of controls you have. So in fence and path mode, that's very simple. You can toggle curved on and off. There are people, I've gotten comments from people who didn't even know you could turn the path, like curve the path, because they never thought to look down there. And I don't blame people for this. I get like blind to instructions as well, right? I get so focused on what I'm doing, I'm not really looking at the periphery of everything that's going on and all of the things that the game is telling me to do, which is one of the reasons why I suck at challenge mode. So I really wish that the game would have an actual tutorial, not just kind of ruin the campaign of the game and sort of make that like a quasi tutorial. I really wish that the game had like a teeny tiny actual tutorial with like a big old arrow that points down to those instructions at the bottom to help people realize that. And on top of that, I'm gonna say this again, I really wish Frontier or just the game in its information did a better job of letting people know that all buildings is an option that's only available on PC, PS4, and Xbox X or S. It's not available on, PS5. Oh my god, I just screwed it up. I'm confusing so many people right now. All buildings is only possible if if you have the game on PC, PS5, or Xbox X or S. It is not available if you have the game on PS4 or Xbox One. And that is any version of Xbox One. I get that question a lot as well. I have Xbox One something something something. Why don't I have this feature? You don't have it because you have an Xbox One. It doesn't matter which version of the Xbox One it is. I'm sorry about the little rant, but I still get that question. The game is almost a year old and I still get that question. And I'm not so much frustrated for myself. I'm frustrated for the people who have that game on old consoles and they don't know that. You know, they might have bought the game not knowing that they had this huge limitation, right? So that's what I'm frustrated about. Okay, I'm also a little frustrated that I've said this like 17 times at this point. But it just really sucks that there's like a really it's a big case of misinformation in that regard. So I'm just using this opportunity to say it again. In case you're watching, you don't have the game yet, you're considering buying, make sure that if you have an old console, you're okay with the fact that you don't get all buildings and all decorations in one save file. You have to go either Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, DFW, or... No, I think that's the three, actually. I don't think Biosyn is its own entire thing. Not sure, actually. But here you go. Now we've reached the point where I hinted at earlier, which is the thing that I really needed to add that I almost forgot, and that is an aviary in the spooky section. I was kind of struggling with lining it up, but there you have it. And that is why I'm turning this guy around, because we don't have a view of the aviary behind the lagoon, and I thought that was kind of cool. So I'm just getting rid of all of that and turning that sucker around so we can actually see the middle aviary behind the lagoon, behind those pillars with the flames. Epic, amazing. If I had more space, I probably would have done more aviaries than just the one. But as addressed earlier on in this video in a very, very long rambly rant, I don't really have the space. So that's going to be the one aviary in this section of the park. And it's going to be sort of like Dracula bats themed, you know, blood sucking, scary, that sort of thing. So that's something to look forward to for the next episode. But yeah, just in the nick of time, I remembered that I really should put in an aviary, because that's one of the things that I felt like was a really nice distinction between spooky and happy. The metal aviary versus the glass aviary. You know, the glass aviary is very pristine looking. It's like a gem, like a sapphire in your park. Getting poetic with it now. And the metal aviary is just like this big, heavy, high security kind of structure. So that's why I really, 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 really wanted to use the aviary to have that contrast with the glass aviary on the other side. And I would really welcome suggestions for dinosaurs that we should... Sorry. Oh, I know they're not dinosaurs. I misspoke. I know they're not dinosaurs. I would really love suggestions for the flying reptiles that we can put in the aviary for our Dracula theme. Someone in an earlier video suggested Tapejara, but I think Tapejara is just too pretty and too colorful for the spooky side. I really think that we should save that for the happy side of the park. So personally, I'm edging more towards Dimorphodon, Merodactylus, Tropicgnathus, those guys. And I'm unsure if I'm going to be able to make a Kets fit in there. I feel like I might not do the Kets, even though that feels like I'm sinning. But I just don't know if I can make that work. All right. So I'm just placing decorations throughout the park. I went with these. I'm still unsure if I actually like it. I've never used this. I legitimately think this is the first time I've used this decoration. I never know what to do with it. If you have mods, if you use mods, you can overlap them with other stuff or with each other in some interesting ways. Without mods, I really don't know what to do with them. So I did this, and I'm not sure, but I've committed to it, and there it is. So yeah, I'm just decorating the park, going along. It is a little bit difficult because, you know, you have to stay away from any decorations that has, like, you know, the flowers in the planter, stuff like that. I don't really want to use that in this part of the park. So I use a lot of trees, basically. I'm a little bit concerned about how my game is going to handle this park once it's finished. I built my all carnivores park on the Biosyn Sanctuary, and I was really starting to see some significant, like, I'm no longer having fun kind of lag on this map. And I sort of feel like it's related to this map specifically because I build huge, complicated, detailed parks all the time, right? And with nary an issue. But my all carnivores park on this map was really, really struggling. And near the end of this build, I got some hints that the same struggle was happening with just like a big delay when placing path and stuff. So we haven't even done half the park at this point yet, right? So that's just concerning. So I really hope that my PC can manage all that I have in mind for this park. But here you go, we have the Tylosaurus with its mean face swimming around in one of the lagoons. Then in this one we have the big, the beautiful Mosasaurus with a shark feeding show that we will activate at the very end when everything is done, so I don't have to refill the feeders. Oh god. So we have the Mosasaurus, and then finally in the other exhibit, if my camera woman would please move away. I know, you're obsessed with the Mosasaurus, move on. In the final one, we have Liopleurodon, which I feel is probably one of the best ones for this Sea Monsters section, because I like it, I guess. It's, as I said on Twitter, it's hashtag not my Liopleurodon, but as a non-Liopleurodon, I like it. As a sea monster, I like it. I think it looks pretty cool as a sea monster. But those are the species that we added for this episode. As I said, I really welcome suggestions for what we can do with the aviary for our Dracula theme. And then the final species will be our wetlands, our swamp dinosaurs, and our hybrids, as well as the Therizinosaurus, of course. And maybe I can fit in some other things in the gaps that we will be left with as well. So really hope that you'll tune in for those. If you are interested in the continuation of this park, and of course the tour with which it'll culminate, please consider subscribing to the channel. Alright, thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the game.